It is Tuesday, March 29th, 4:28 p.m. This is Writing Walks, and I'm your guide, Alex Talander. Today I am once again recording from my home, this time in my son's room, which has the best view in the house of a nice greenery area out his window with trees and everything. And any sound effects, ambiance, atmosphere you're picking up from the outside is what that is. Some kids playing out there, traffic going by, just going for a natural soundscape as I talk about writing goals in this episode of Writing Walks. Glad I'm back here to be doing another Writing Walks again. Managed to fit into my schedule and get it recorded today, just before the April release, so hopefully that'll all get done in time. I'm going to be doing the episode I usually do beginning early on every year, the first few months, a little later this year for obvious reasons, about writing goals, going over my writing goals from last year and how I did with those, and then setting up my writing goals for this year. So let's get started with our writing goals from 2021, and you can check out that episode, I think it was in February of last year, to go over those goals in detail when I talked about them, but I'll be talking about them today and going over what I got done and how I did. Again, as usual, life is unpredictable and things happen that I never could have expected. I did have a baby at the end of it, which I was planning for. I'm ready for that. There were other things I thought was going to happen, and they didn't quite happen how I thought they were going to happen. But of course, there were other life upheavals and things, so the goals didn't get as done as I maybe expected to, but that's just how it is. And that's why I like doing these episodes, going over my writing goals, just to show as much as you might want to try and achieve a specific set of goals each year, it's very unlikely that you'll get everything done, which is why I'm never too strict about getting them all done. If I get most of them done, I'm happy, but it's not a deal breaker if I don't get them done. It's more of a kind of rubric for the year to kind of help me stay on task with what writing I want to get done for the year. But again, if I don't get it all done, I don't feel too bad. I don't beat myself up about it, which I think is important with the writing goals. You can't be too strict to them. So the writing goals for 2021, number one was get Ostium Season 6 completed, written primarily. So this was a yes, a check mark. I did get all of Ostium Season 6 completely written. We have started a bit of recording now. With various people, again, the pandemic and lots of other things that affected people's lives, with being able to record remotely and things like that. Again, with me having a kid, that's totally changed my life with how I've been able to get any recording done. And originally I was hoping to get kind of cast recordings where we were all doing a Zoom together and recording in the same time and space, but with my schedule now, that's just not feasible, so we're all doing it remotely, as we have done in the previous 5 seasons of Ostium. So not too different, really. And we're getting that done bit by bit. But the point was, the goal I really wanted to get done is all the writing done. And that did get done last year, so I was happy about that. Goal number 2, complete outlining and start writing Circe Season 2. I did finish outlining last year with Circe, and I'm trying to remember when I started. I think it technically did qualify because I started writing it late December, mid-December or so, back when things started getting a little settled with the newborn, and I was starting to have a bit of a writing schedule again and able to fit in times where I could write, and what I wanted to work on was Circe Season 2. And so out of the 10 episodes for that season, I have gotten 7 done. 6 done, I think it is, and I got 3 to go, so 7 done. Yep. And I got 3 left to write for the season, so that's gone very well. Most of it I got done in 2022, but I did get it started in 2021, so therefore I did fulfill that goal. Complete 2 chapters of my novel Olog. That did not happen. The novel was pretty much just pushed aside for the year, as my focus was primarily on Ostium network shows and things like that, podcast-wise. And I think it's kind of going to be the same this year, too. I would really like to find time to get back to working on that novel, but because Ostium has become such a big thing in my life, and it's actually making me some money over writing a novel, that's always going to be my kind of primary focus and what I'm working on and generating new content for. I do have a goal set aside for it this year if I can get some of it done, but we'll see. So I did not complete that goal. but I kind of feel like maybe not the beginning of the year, but towards the middle of the year, it was kind of expected that I wouldn't get that goal completed. Goal number 4, complete recording for Myriad and possible release. That did not happen either. Again, it's not an Ostium-related show, Ostium Network show necessarily. It's some of my short stories that I've adapted into podcast episodes, and so it wasn't a primary focus for me. Again, I had so much other stuff going on. It kind of like was the one that, well, one of the things that got pushed to the side and said we can, put that aside and get to it eventually when we want to, when we have time to. And that just didn't happen last year. I think it was last year that I did get some of the voice actors I wanted to use on some of the episodes. They did get their recordings done, so there's a little bit of that done. And again, all the writing was done, which I think, or should have been done because it's adapted from short stories, but those are all ready to go. So I can't talk about specifics yet, but there's some stuff happening this year I'm hoping for, and I was talking recently with someone, and it might get a kind of new area of release, the show Myriad, in some way that might make it more likely to get recorded and put together and done. So we'll see about that. Maybe this year, maybe not. We'll have to see. Goal number 5, complete time travel short story. This I did do. It was just an idea that started coming to me, and I wanted to write it last year, and I did get the whole thing written, which was really cool. It was a pretty long story. I haven't looked back at it since, but it all got written. And as I recall from the 2021 goals episode, I think I'd gotten most of it done and just finished actually before I recorded that episode. So it was nice to get a full short story done early on in the year and just kind of put that goal to bed. When you can get goals done early, it always feels good. 6, start a new short story. I've had some other ideas that I've had floating around in my mind for a few years now that I've wanted to sit down and start writing. That's never quite happened. However, I did write a Ostium miniseries. So that kind of, I feel, counts as a short story. Again, it's Ostium related, so it was a focus. It ended up being a series for our Indiegogo campaign that we did, and then we've also released it to our Ostium Patreon. So you can get access to that there. That started releasing a few weeks ago now, and you're getting, there's 4 episodes of it, and then 2 are out, and 2 more will be coming out if you're at the $5 tier and above. So that was a new short story that ended up being pretty long. I think it was like 8,000 to 10,000 words at the end of it, the whole thing, so pretty good. And then goal number 7 was journaling once a week. This was a brand new thing I was trying out, where it was just like fiction journaling. So once a week I just wanted to open up my journal with pen and paper and just write something down, a story, an idea, a thought that came to me. I did some poetry, things like that. For the most part, I did stick to the schedule of doing it once a week. Sometimes I missed a week or two, and sometimes I did it a few times during the week. What tended to happen towards the end of the year is I started writing more Ostium-related stuff. I believe I wrote the short story I mentioned in the previous goal, the miniseries. I wrote that in my journaling. And I found I started writing a lot more often, multiple times a week, and being more focused in it by writing Ostium-related stuff. Again, because it's the main focus in my life, and I keep generating new content for it and ideas that I want to write down and come up with. So it's been a lot of fun trying this new method and giving me another way I can get writing done other than sitting at a laptop, which sometimes isn't always possible. I've gotten a lot of writing done through my journals on my lunch breaks at work when I'm delivering the mail, and on my lunch break after eating, I'll pull out the book and usually do a couple pages of writing on, with longhand and get some work done that way. So it's been a lot of fun to try that. As of this point, I'm actually into my 3rd journal now. I filled up 2 books already, and I'm working on the 3rd one. And the first one had a whole mixture of different things, little story ideas, some poetry, different thoughts and things like that. And then again, as it has switched slowly kind of to Ostium-related stuff, there's a variety of different things in there, and there's a whole new series now I'm working on called the Ostium Sagas that I've started I think it was the end of the 2nd book, and then it's most of the 3rd book now of the Ostium Sagas, which has been a lot of fun to write. And again, I feel like this goal worked very well and given me a new outlet of writing in a way, and has really kind of fueled me to keep being more creative. So I recommend it if anyone else wanted to try it. So that was my 7 goals for the year. And let's see, that's 4.5. No, 5 out of 7. So that's pretty good. 5 completed out of 7. So that's honestly, it's better than I would have expected. And I think if you rank up my previous year writing goals over the last few years, this is probably a pretty successful year comparatively. So there you go. Happy about that. Let's move on to 2022. So goal number 1, get Ostium Season 6 recorded and ready. All my work of writing it has totally been done. Now it's just a case of managing the team, the voice actors and the sound designers and all the other little bits that go into it and putting it all together. So I'm kind of on everyone else's schedule, which is always tough for me because I like to just work on my schedule and get stuff done when I want it done. But that's part of being a team and working as a group. And again, with the pandemic and everything else going on, it's something that I've had to learn to be patient with and be graceful with others and give them the time they need to get it done, and it will be ready when it's ready, basically. And so I think it is possible to get that all done this year. I'm hoping it is, but I'm not going to guarantee it and give it a promise of approval at this point. We'll just have to see. Goal number 2, finish writing Cersei Season 2. This is on me for writing. I think this is very feasible. Like I said, I've gotten 7 of the 10 episodes done. So I just need episodes 8, 9, and 10 left to do. They're shorter episodes compared to Ostium, and usually rounding about 1,500 to 2,000 words. So I can get them written sooner. And the creativity has been going pretty well with this. And I'm curious to see, as I'm writing the characters and the story, how it all ends. I want to find out, so I'm excited to keep writing at it and finishing it. So that'll be fun. And I definitely think I should get that done, honestly, probably in the first half of the year, if not in the next month or 2. Goal number 3, start recording and putting together Cersei Season 2. I think that, again, is very possible, and it's, again, I'm not asking for too much, just to start working on it and putting it together, again, involving the voice actors and sound people and things like that, and getting them contracts done and all organized and getting people working on it and recording it. The little bit on me of this is I need to edit it and get everything ready for release, and then start getting in contact with everyone and pulling everyone together to start doing their parts. But I think it's feasible to at least, even by December, get something done with that. Goal for number 4, record and release the Ostium sagas. So this was a little... it was originally going to be a little mini-series, and it's turned into this big, long series now, and a much bigger thing than I ever could have expected. It could practically be its own podcast and spin-off of the Ostium universe, but it will be released under the Ostium feed. And it came about mainly because, as Ostium Season 6 has been delayed so much, and I've been wanting to get it released, but I have to wait till it's finished and ready to get released, I've been wanting to come up with something else to release for the listeners in the meantime. And so I started out with this little idea, and then it grew and grew, and now it's become this big thing called the Ostium Sagas. And I've gotten, I think it's over 7,500 words of that written. Again, it was all written originally longhand in my journaling, and then I've been typing it up, and we'll start editing and putting it together for release. And that'll be me recording that from the point of view of Steve's character. So, and it'll be me sound designing and editing it too, so it's on me to get all that done, but I think it's feasible to start getting that all put together and released at some point later on in the year. Definitely the second half of the year, maybe fall or so. So that'll be fun. Goal number 5, start a new short story. This will be a time constraint thing of when I find a moment to actually do it. I've mentioned I have a few ideas I've been wanting to put down in my mind, totally separate from the Ostium world and podcasts and everything, that I've been wanting to start writing for a few years now. Fortunately, I still remember them pretty well, and the little genesis of an idea that I wanted to play around with each of them. So if I find time during the year at some point to get that done, it'll be fun to start doing that, but we'll have to see. And then goal number 6 was a bonus, work on the Olag novel. Again, this is pie in the sky. I don't think it very likely, but if I could get around to even just typing up a few pages, generating something, it'll be fun to get back to that little world for a bit and play around there. Again, it all depends on timing and scheduling and how things work out, both with me, with the projects I've got going. There's some big stuff coming with Ostium, which I'm still waiting for and to see how that goes. And then also, as my newborn, who is now 4 months old, gets bigger and more independent and able to do things by himself and will need less attention and work, I should hopefully have more time then freed up for recording and writing and things like that. So we'll have to see. I did want to circle back real quick. So originally I had the journaling from last year, and I didn't put that on again this year. Because while I think it was a great experiment that worked well for me by saying I wanted to journal once a week, and I only missed it a few times, I'd say, less than 5, I would say. I felt having that constraint of needing to do that once a week, it almost got at times a little too much, where I felt guilty for not getting it done and bad, and I don't think that was healthy for my creativity and my writing. It changed again once I started doing Ostium stuff, because I started wanting to create a lot more content and it was a lot easier to do. So this year I'm not having a goal like that of journaling once a week, but more just continuing to journal, but when I want. And at the moment, that's all being taken up by the Ostium sagas, which again I'm doing on my lunch breaks and when I have free moments, whether it's at home or somewhere else, or I'm waiting somewhere for an appointment or something like that, and I have the book with me, my journal, and my pen, and I can just start jotting stuff down and writing the Ostium sagas. So that's why I don't really have the journaling goal this year, but I know I'm going to get a lot of journaling done. Like I said, I'm only in the third book, my third journal, and I've got 2 more ready to go, and I have a feeling they're going to get filled up pretty quick because I've got so many cool ideas for the Ostium sagas, which will hopefully start seeing the light of day towards the end of this year. So 6 goals for this year. Most of them pretty feasible. The last 2 are maybes, and we'll see how it goes with everything I've got going on. I think I'm doing better this year with not shooting for too much, but shooting for, the stuff I know I can get done, making a bigger project out of each of them with 1 through 4, which I think is going to be a lot of fun to get done. And then we move on to my book recommendation, and I actually have a number of ones I want to recommend, but I'm just going to stick to one this time. And it's actually a recent release, came out a couple weeks ago, mid-March or so, The Kaiju Preservation Society by John Scalzi. And it's pretty much what it sounds like. It's classic John Scalzi, really funny, grabs you right from the beginning and pulls you in and you want to know what's going to happen. And basically, I would say if the cover and the title are enough to grab you, don't listen to the rest. I'm going to tell you about the story. Just, find the book, get it from your library, go buy it, and just start reading it because you'll enjoy it. I guarantee it. But the summary of the story is a guy. It's actually interesting because it's written during the pandemic, and the pandemic is acknowledged in it. In the afterword of the book, in the acknowledgments, Scalzi talks about he originally had this novel all planned, and when the pandemic hit, it really affected him in his writing. He couldn't write for a long time. And then he started trying to write this book, and it was just too dark and intense that he really couldn't get his mind wrapped around it. And he started running up against the deadline of when he was supposed to have it done and stuff, and eventually ended up putting that book aside, and a new idea came to him, which was this book, which was more of a fun, shorter adventure. And he was able to get it done real quick and during the pandemic, which was impressive. So again, the book actually addresses the pandemic, which is fun. You don't actually, I won't say fun, but it's interesting because I haven't really read any other books or stories that actually do address the pandemic that we are in. They kind of just pretend it's never happened in the worlds they created, which I understand as readers wanted to escape from what we're in right now, but I feel like some stories need to acknowledge it and kind of give us a chance to process it through their characters and help us get through it as we are trying the best we can to get through it ourselves. So there's a character who's out of a job and looking for anything to get by, and a guy he's delivering food to, who he's known from college, gives him a job offer, and it ends up taking him on a secret mission to, I can't remember if it was Antarctica or it was the Arctic or Greenland or somewhere like that. And then they end up basically traveling through a parallel world to another Earth where there are kaiju. And there are these giant creatures, just as we know, except they run on nuclear power. And there's this group that's been around since like the 40s, that has known about this and been able to do this and has done their best job to keep it secret, but also to understand how these creatures exist and how it works. And it's great because the character knows nothing about this, so you get to learn through his eyes and see everything, from beginning to end, which is always great because as the reader, you don't know anything that's going on either. It doesn't just throw you in there. You get to make the big steps with him and see this whole different world. So that's all I'm going to say about that. It's a really fun read, a really fast read. Funny, adventurous, you'll love it. So that's the Kaiju Preservation Society by John Scalzi. And that does it for this episode of Writing Walks. As has been the way this year, I'm not sure when the next episode will get done. I would like to get one done by May 1st, but I'm not going to promise it because, again, newborn and life changes and everything. We shall see, but I'm hoping to get one done sometime in April and get it released for May 1st. If anyone has any ideas or topics they'd like me to talk about, shoot me an email at alexctalander@gmail.com, or you can find me on Twitter under the handle @bookbanter. If you would like to support this show, as well as all the other shows I make, you can do that at patreon.com/ostiumpodcast, where you'll get access to all the extras for all the shows. And we actually just started doing a Discord as well for Patreon members, and then we'll eventually open that up to journal people too, everyone else for the Discord, but there will still be specific Patreon channels under it that you will only get access to as a Patreon member. So again, that's patreon.com/ostiumpodcast. Thank you very much for listening. Hope this was helpful to you in when you come up with your own writing goals and what you look for in your writing goals and what you find can help and what cannot help. And I will see you on the next Writing Walks.